Today I'm out here cleaning up my trees, or my little trees. I'm trying. I'm also going to see if I can't work on my roses over there. I've got a disease that's trying to get on them, the leaves and all of that. But here, the ants are getting to them. I can't. This is a new crepe myrtle. It's supposed to be a real red, pretty one. And anyway, I'm working on trying to put some coffee grounds on there to keep the ants out. Coffee grounds are supposed to be working for it. And then Carol is in town getting some compost. I hope to put that around it to get the water in there. And each of these things is supposed to help it. We just planted this, and it looks pretty good. Anyway, we're working on it. And here's another little tree I'm going to work on. Look at that grass around. I'm working on that too. Got to get these off and work on. I keep these on here to keep the deer out. But that's a fig tree. Isn't that cool? How pretty that is. That was given to us. A friend of ours, Granny Grace, she gave it to us, and she blessed us with that. It was killed one time, but I had to trim it down a little bit. I think the frost got it, and it looked like it was dying. So now it looks like it's reviving. I hope it does, because it's a pretty little thing, you know. And you'll have to forgive me if I'm not doing this here phone right, because I can see myself, but I'm turning it around and trying to get my bearings with it. That little turnaround thing won't let me do it on this one. But anyway, here it is. This is a plum tree, and I got two of them. There's one over there. And this plum tree, it seems to be doing well. The only thing that's wrong with it, I got to trim these here around this. But that looks pretty good, and that's what I was hoping for. But it's hard to get to the weeds when I'm doing that and around it. When I got this here wire on it, and ants build up. Look at that. All them kind of fire ants just all over the place. I got to get rid of them. They're coming out right there all over the place. I don't know if you can see it or not. But I had to put this around it, keep the deer off of it. As you can see around that thing right there. I don't know if I got it right, the phone right, but there was deer rutted up against it. And then I try to keep them. But anyway, I was thinking about the trees as I was working out here, and I began to think about the different things we do, yeah, and who we are, and how that we are trees, how we can become the trees planted by the Lord. I love that verse. I'm going to read it a little later and see it. But I wanted to show you some things. See, this is a peach tree, and you can say, well, it's a peach bush right now. It got cold one year, or actually the ants got to the main stem and got down there and ate that stem, or something did. I don't know. I'm assuming the ants did, and I didn't get to it. And then it got cold and it died in the main stem. Well, these came up from the roots of it. I don't know if they'll ever produce. I've had it for 3 years, and it hasn't bloomed or anything else. It's a little peach tree, and Granny gave it to us when she gave me that fig tree, and I planted it. So I'm not sure it's going to do anything, but if it does, it does. But when the main stem is dead, the main root system, when the rest of it won't produce. Those were the sucker vines, I think, that was on the side of it. These here plum trees over here, I had to remove the sucker vines in order for them. That one looked like it was almost dying. I removed the sucker vines. Now it's reproducing. It's putting on. But I don't think any of them are going to produce anything this year because it got too cold at one time. And the same thing with this is a peach tree, another peach tree, and it's doing well. And you can see up here that it's healthy and good. That bloomed out, but it won't put any fruit out because the cold got it. It came cold. I'm working on this other one over here, and it's such a blessing on this one. This is a Rosa Sharon. It's looking pretty good. It's looking real nice. The green, deep color on the bottom, and it survived. I had two of them, but it died. The one died because it got either cold or it got done. This one got nipped, but it came back. But I was looking around at all the trees. Look at that, how pretty there is. That's Carol's right there, that big oak tree. I don't know if I'm pointing the phone right or not, but anyway, that's a big oak tree. It's a white oak, and it's a beautiful. It's got a nice canopy on it, and she calls it her umbrella tree, and it's in our front yard there. Of course, her kids and their kids' daddy planted it when it was just a little tree, a little small shrub tree. I mean, small tree. It hadn't grown at all, and now look at it. Now, 30 years later, how big it is and beautiful. And here's these pine trees. They're all beautiful. We've got some big pine trees in here, and they all there's some all kind of beauty around us when you look at it. God's beauty can't be beat. And look at my catawba tree. Isn't that something? Now how green it is over there. You can't see it from this angle, how pretty it is, because you see them breaking spaces. But when you look at it, I'll show you over here where you can see it, where you look at it from the yard. It's one of my favorites. I love it. Anyway, it's because it looks so pretty when it's coming up. And you see the trees. And each of these trees produce something. They produce something. I for the life of me, don't know what the sweet gum tree produces, but that's a little sweet gum. It does produce a shade, I suppose. And I've got some big ones over here. They're big old sweet gum. All they produce for my thing is them sweet gum balls. But anyway, there's a purpose for them. There's a purpose for them. And they're God's creation. That little sweet gum tree over there, it's pretty. There's nothing wrong with it. It's all kind of pretty. But they keep the dust off the road, as it comes in during the hot of the summer, heat of the summer. It keeps the dust out of the house, or helps keep it. And I know we've looked at some of the trees man, you think about the roots. I was thinking about the roots and what those roots go deep. I mean, they go deep down of that pine tree, go straight down. And that's the roots of that white oak. It spreads out. It goes this way. And each of these old pine trees there, they go down straight. That right there, sweet gum, that thing spreads. The roots are clear over to that pine tree, the big pine tree, and all the way over to the other. I mow around. I've cut a bunch of them out, but they're a mess. They get up and you can't mow around them. But what I'm saying is, the roots go deep. And as the roots they hold that tree. And I begin to think about what the roots were. The roots in the Bible, in comparison to what the Bible was saying. The roots. That's what holds that tree. And what is the tree? The tree is, the roots are what they believe, how they believe. And the tree is family. It is what we've grown into. And what we stand as a shade. I know many ministries that could be likened under a tree, because so many people shelter under that tree, and they look up to that tree, and it protects them. And the branches, to me, is the families, and our children, and the family tree, as they call it, and is everything that we are. And the roots, again, like I say, is what we believe and how we believe, and our traditions, and all those things that we've set over the generations and passed on to our children. And that's our roots, and that's what makes us live. That's what identifies us. And so as I begin to think on that, I begin to think of the scripture in Isaiah. Actually, it's in Luke 2, I think. It says, the Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach the good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes. You know that what the prison doors are. It's those things that keep us bound to the earth. Those prisons, those things, our fears, our doubts, our angers, our bitterness, those things that have lasted for years and kept us bound in our mind, in the spirit of our mind, where we don't have the freedom to walk in peace and in the joy of the Lord. It's those things. And I can see families that are bitter against each other because of things that has happened, and they won't let it go, and because they hold it against one another. Or friends that have separated because of tradition, beliefs, and doctrines. People that won't stand together. Christians that won't, because they are a tree unto themselves. And they stand, this is our tree, and you are that tree. There is no communion. There's no unity of spirit, because we're all different kind of trees. It reminds me of let's say that big old pine right there is a Baptist, and there's over there there's a Catholic, and maybe over there that's a different type of tree there, and it's a different type of teaching, and none of us can come together. But he said he made us like trees. I'm thinking of that man that Jesus reached down and got the dirt and took his spittle and made some mud and put it in his eyes. And he said that the first time he did it, when he done it, he rubbed it in his eyes and he said, "Can now I see?" And he said, "What do you see?" And he said, "I see men like trees. I see men like trees." And I began to think on that, and I really, this is just my opinion. Again, I'm saying it. I have no assumption on my part. But he said that men were like trees, but then Jesus said, "Wait a minute." And he went and touched him again, and his eyes were opened, and he saw clearly. And as he began to see that, he said, those things are, that his eyes began to see clearly past those traditions, past those trees that were there of tradition. And so when we see that, he said, that they might be called, he said, to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. Jesus said, "By their fruit you shall know them," by what they're producing on their tree, by the fruit. If you see, I know that righteousness can be seen. I know love can be felt. I know joy can be expressed and recognized, and it's contagious. I know goodness can be appreciated and received faster than anger or hatred. I know mercy is healing. I know those things happen, and those things grow on our tree. Forgiveness sets at liberty those that are bound by unforgiveness. Letting go of what was is always a thing that when we let go of our control, when we let go of what we think we are, when we become his trees of righteousness and let ourselves be bound up in him and not trapped into what was, and let our heart be lifted up into his glory, and let the joy of the Lord be our strength, you'd be surprised how much peace you can walk in. Let the joy of the Lord be your strength, and let that his goodness and mercy follow you all the day long. God bless. I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.